Hello, my CFA friends. How are you, my friends? So basically, you've got these practical skill modules on financial modeling with Excel and Python programming that you are supposed to complete in your own time. They are non-exam based, so as long as you complete them in time, your results get released. But if I could take a time machine and go back and do it all over again, and these practical skill modules were available to me, I would be all over both Excel and Python programming. So for that reason, I am contemplating starting a couple of series, one on Excel and one on Python programming. And today we are going to start the Python series, and we're going to have little modules that build your confidence with Python. And in this first one, we will look at your basic data types. We're also going to write our first program. So I'm using an IDE, an integrated development environment called PyCharm. So if you guys want, you can download PyCharm and follow along with this course. But equally, you can just lean back and enjoy and just watch the show, because really the point is to get some conceptual knowledge here. So traditionally, the first program that a programmer would ever write is the simple message, hello world. And we're going to modify this slightly. We're going to go for hello, my CFA friends. Now, because this is a text message, we're going to have to enclose it in speech marks. So I can either use double speech marks or I can use single speech marks. On my keyboard, I do actually like single speech marks because it's just one button. Double speech marks is Shift 2 on my keyboard. So what I'll need to do, as I said, you can use single speech marks. We will just write, hello, my CFA friends. I'm going to have an exclamation mark there. So that is text, or more technically, we're going to use the Python term of string. String is the funky term that Python uses for text. And of course, if I were to run this, and I can run it either with this play button here or Shift F10 on my keyboard, you can see here, down here in terms of the output, nothing happens, because I actually have to enclose this within the print function. And what the print function does is it's actually going to output the message down here. So I can see now, hello, my CFA friends, appearing down here. And it actually says that the process finished with exit code 0, which essentially means we didn't get any errors. So pretty funky message there saying we didn't have any errors. Now, this first module is on basic data types. So let's go over the basic data types. The most basic one, I guess, is a string, as we said, a piece of text. And we are going to typically hold it in a variable. And I like to think of a variable as some sort of label or container that is going to be filled with whatever you want to give to that variable. And I also want to talk a little bit about naming conventions in Python. In Python, we use something called the snake case for labeling variables. So let's say if my variable was going to be my name, I would use snake case, which means that I'm going to be separating each word of my variable through an underscore. So I've got my name here. And then I want to assign a value to my name. So I'm going to use, of course, the equal sign. So the equal sign is used for variable assignment. So if I want to store something in variable, I'm just going to say equals. And remember here that I need to use speech marks for string or for text. And my name here is going to be Martin. So that, my friends, is an example of a string. Next, perhaps I want to assign an integer to the variable my age. And so let's pretend for a second here that I was actually 20 years old, which of course I'm not, but let's say I am. So my age equals 20, or 20 is an integer. And you can see here PyCharm is even coloring it in blue. So it's recognizing that that is an integer. Next, I might want to store a variable for my height. So let's say my height equals 5.11. That's in feet, of course. And notice here that even though it is in blue, this variable here is not an integer, but a floating decimal point. So actually, the minute you put the decimal dot, this is going to be treated as a floating variable. And lastly, here I might have a variable that stores whether I'm a man or a woman. So we could say is male and give this either a true value or a false value. So obviously, if the value is true, that means that I'm a man. If it's false, then I'm not a man. Notice that true or false have to be capitalized for this to work. So it's not going to work if you type true with small letter. And this last variable, because it's a binary variable, 0 or 1, is actually known as a Boolean. And actually, let me also introduce another concept here, which is commenting. If you want to comment any particular line, you can use the hashtag symbol. So we could say that this first variable is a string. We could say that this variable here is an integer. This here is a float, which is short for floating. And this is a bool, which is short for Boolean variable. Now, there is also a way in Python to check the data type, and that, you guessed it, will be done through the type function. But of course, if I just type the type function, nothing's going to appear down here in my output. So what I will need to do is print. Use the print function. So that's going to display the type. Now I'm going to use the type function, and then I'm going to give the variable name. So the variable name is my name, and I'm going to copy this 2, 3, 4 more times and do it for the other variables as well. So once I'm ready, I'm going to press play here, and I can see that the first print statement produces class string, the second one is integer, the third one is float, and the fourth one is bool, as we expected. In later modules, we'll talk about classes and objects, but that's a little bit more advanced. For now, we just wanted to understand our basic data types. In future videos, we will learn how to manipulate strings and how to do mathematical operations and how to use if statements and for loops and while loops. And we're going to learn more advanced data structures such as lists and dictionaries. But I will reserve this for future videos. Hope you found this very short video useful, and have a great day.